Hey guys, it's Infismal here with I hate intros, so let's start already. So we start off with Deku in an alley, talking to Lucius Fox. Lucius then says, Mr. Wayne, hate to disturb you at school, but I have something that could be useful. He then opens a trunk and pulls out a utility belt. And I'm so sorry for my phone, and any noise you hear in the background, I can't do anything about it. Like I was saying, Lucius then says, I adjusted the size for your new body, sir. But I have yet to finish your new bat suit, but considering your new body type, you understand. Lucius says, it's fine. I'll use my homemade version for now. Lucius says, you seem to be praying for a fight, Mr. Wayne. Lucius says, I've heard a rumor that there's a man with an alligator quirk and a silver. And Lucius responds with, are you sure you didn't see a man with a crocodile quirk? Lucius says, they might have. So I'm going to observe it with my new equipment. But somewhere else, a villain made of sludge is running through the city, and a woman said he stole my purse. But then a silhouette of a skinny man starts to steam and enlarge. People turn around, and someone says, it's All Might. And we then cut to Izuku lifting a silver grate and jumping into it. As he walks to it, he calls somebody in his oracle. She says, Bruce or Izuku. Sorry, I'm not sure to call you. Izuku / Batman says, Bruce. She says, okay. What do you need? Batman says, I need blueprints of the city sewers. And Oracle says, sure. Batman says, something's troubling you? And she says, it's just me and my dad are having issues in getting used to an entirely different world, different environment. Especially one with 80% of the population with superpowers. Batman says, I understand, but there's something I need to deal with first. But we cut to Batman jumping down a small slide or hill in the sewers. But something runs past him, and Batman dodges. That's when he sees the sludge villain. And as Izuku's in his bat outfit, he says, who are you? But Batman just narrows his eyes. But then says, I have one freak after me, I don't need another one. He then runs in the opposite direction, starting to drink water. But that's when All Might appears and sees Batman. And he says, who are you, young lad? And Luke says, I'm Batman. That's when All Might says, wait, Batman? You mean the vigilante? He says, sorry lad, about to arrest you. And it's but then before he can finish, Batman shushes him, before he looks down and sees a ribbon of water. That's when he ducks out of the way as the wall behind them breaks, and a giant crocodile man walks through it. And it says, who are you? But then All Might jumps out the way and says, did you try to bite my head off? But then Batman says, Killer Croc, stand down or I'll make you stand down. And Croc says, you dress like the bat. I hate the bat. He then charges at Batman. As he tries to bite him, he steps aside before kicking him in the face. Killer Croc then tries to swing, but Batman rolls underneath him. He then splashes some sewer water in his face. But then All Might yells, smash! And leg sweeps him. Then Batman jumps onto Killer Croc's chest and braids him with side punches to the face. But as Killer Croc tries to grab him, Batman jumps off and lands next to All Might. All Might then says, sounds like you know him. Batman says his name is Killer Croc, he's a criminal. He has a grudge against me because I stopped many of his crimes. But as Killer Croc gets up, he spits out a tooth and says, your punches are like the bats, but you're too tall to be Robin. So who are you? The Batman just saying, it's been a while, Killer Croc. Killer Croc says, it is you, Batman. I'm gonna kill you. But as he charges at Batman, Batman says, follow my lead. He then jumps over Killer Croc's teeth and lands on his head. He then wraps his legs around his neck and starts punching him in the face. Killer Croc then grabs him and throws him off, and Batman lands it instead of falling. Then All Might says, smash! And punches Killer Croc in the gut, making him fall to the knees. That's when Batman grabs his head and smashes him in the chin with his knees, and makes him fall on his back. With both Batman and All Might jumping on top of him and punching him each side of his face multiple times. Then Batman stops All Might, and Killer Croc looks up at them with bruises and face says, you're dead. How are you alive? And why are you so short? Bane just says, doesn't matter. Just tell people I'm back. Before punching him in the face and knocking him out cold. That's when All Might says, hate to do this, young lad. But as he jumps off Killer Croc, he says, even though you helped me take down this villain, I had to arrest you. Then he realizes nobody's there, except for a knocked out Killer Croc. He then says, where'd he go? But he cut to Izuku changing in an alley. That's when somebody says, does your mother know you play in the sewers? That's when Deku says, I've heard you coming, Dick. That's when Dick comes around from the corner and says, even if a different body, I cannot sneak up on you. So as soon as you're looking for Killer Croc, if from your face you found him. Izuku then says, All Might has him in custody. But they then start walking, says, are you walking with me? Dick says, why not? I'm in civilian clothing. Not to mention, it's been a while. Dick then looks down and says, look Bruce, when you died, people got them took it hard. But now you're back. But Izuku says, but I'm like this now, a teenager who goes to school, has a mother. He then goes silent. Dick says, Bruce, I have a question. When you died a year passed for us. But how long was it for you? Izuku then looks down and says, 10 years, Dick, 10 years. Dick says, well, let's roll back. Maybe we can start becoming family again. But before Izuku can speak, they hear an explosion. They then start running. That's when they arrive and see Kachan being held hostage. And none of the heroes can help. But Dick says, if you're gonna last a few seconds more, you can change and save him. But then Izuku runs past him. That's when everybody sees Izuku charging at such villain. But as the hero tries to stop him, he dodges all of them. He then throws his backpack at his eyes, blinding them. But as he tries to rip Kachan out, since he's buffered due to his training, he pulls him out way easier. But as such villain he says, what's going on? He says, give me back! As he pushes Kachan out the way, this is a bit tries to get him. But then the surgeon gets encased in knives. And as people watching and asking what happened, there goes a flashback. When he threw his backpack, he could have a freeze blast or ice grenade, depending what you call it. And then when he tried to pull Kachan out, he left it in there in his place. But as the hero scolded him, Dick thinks to himself, he never changed, does he? We then cut to Izuku walking home, and out of nowhere, All Might pops out. It says, are you the young lad who saved the explosion boy? Izuku says, yes, that's me. That's when All Might pops out. Sorry, there's a mosquito. Fly, buzz off. Sorry if you can hear him. Like I was saying, All Might says, are you the young lad who saved the explosion boy? Izuku says, yes, that was me. That's when All Might shrinks down. Even though Izuku is aware of who All Might is, because he's Batman, obviously. He does research on other heroes. Izuku acts surprised to see All Might's true form. All Might says, I may have your name, young lad. Izuku says, it's Izuku Midoriya. All Might then says, young lad, do you have a quirk? And Izuku says, no. Then All Might says, rubs his chin and smiles. That's when All Might says, young Midoriya, I need to tell you something about my quirk. You see, I wasn't born with this quirk, it was given to me. And All Might basically explains or tells Izuku the true nature of his quirk. Because even though Deku was acting surprised, he used the detective school to find out already, like months ago. He found out Origin 1 for All, etc. He's an amazing detective. But as All Might tells Izuku that he wants him to inherit his quirk, Izuku's ready to shoot him down. But then he remembers how he helped Damien and Jason. He also remembers what Lucius said. Mr. Wayne, I hope you stay safe, because you're in a weaker body now, and your gadgets can only help you so much. That's when Izuku says, I accept, All Might. We then cut to Damien sitting on a roof, when Timbaland says, let me get this straight. Bruce thinks he's not strong enough to face certain villains alone, so he's planning on training with the #1 hero to get his power and make him so stronger. Damien says, pretty much. We then cut to All Might and Deku on the beach. All Might says, okay, young Midoriya. First, we need to check your physical capabilities, so take off your shirt. And as he does this, All Might spits out blood, because when he sees Izuku's body, he sees a 6-pack that fine muscles everywhere, as though he's been training for 10 years. All Might then says, cleaning the beach will be far easier, and says, this beach used to be beautiful, but years of trash having had destroyed it. So your job is to clean it up, and once you finish, I will give you my quirk. We will then train you with one for all. And Izuku says, okay, All Might. But as Izuku's cleaning the beach, we then cut to him training with Nightwing. We then cut him to moving a basketball hoop out of the trash pile. We cut to Damien and Deku playing basketball, and Damien getting wrecked. Like, he got his knees broken. And he got tricked, or like, played. I forgot what the term is. Basically getting wrecked in basketball. We then cut to Deku throwing away a blender. We then cut to Deku and Tim making smoothies. Deku's then throwing chemical bags away with needles. Then Alfred is stitching up his slash wound. We then cut to Izuku shadow boxing. Then Batman dodging a man punch and knocking him out with a counter punch. Then we show Izuku talking to Lucius Fox. Lucius says, I finished your new suit, Mr. Wayne. It's made from highly flexible and sturdy fiber. You'll be able to move like you're wearing nothing. But it's almost uncuttable. And when shot it would harden. It was also designed to draw attention to the strongest point of the armor. Its helmet is also equipped with high-tech sensors. But guys, since you might need a picture or something, imagine a bastard from Arkham Knight, or maybe a picture of Sue would be in the background. But then Izuku says, hey, let's say this, but you might have to add some new enhancements. Lucius says, yes, they have told me about your training with All Might. And by need for information on how the power works, I can figure out how to adjust the suit. We then get to All Might saying he's impressed. He cleaned the beach in 2 months. But now it's time for you to accept my quirk. But after Izuku pretends to be disgusted by the hair, even though he's not because he's done worse. All Might then says, now for your training, with All for One. You need to let the power flow through you. But Deku thinks himself, All Might said my body won't be able to handle it at full percent, so only use 5%. But as Izuku does this, All Might says he's a quick learner. But we now cut to Jim Gordon smoking a cigarette during a normal night. But Batman appears and Jim says, it's creepier now that you're a kid. Batman says, I'm a teenager now, but what do you call me for? Jim says, your main issues. He then passes a bio and Batman narrows his eyes and says, Bane. Jim says, sure you can handle him? Rumor is it that All Might help you take down Killer Croc. Batman says, I can handle him. We then cut to All Might and Izuku training. But Izuku says, All Might, you seem distracted, and All Might says it's because of a vigilante known as Batman. He does fine work, but I don't like his methods. He's a vigilante, but he's one step ahead of everybody. Even my old sidekick couldn't find him. We then cut to 1 week later. So you don't understand, I'm trying to skip the training part of the show at the beginning, so let's skip that. We get to Izuku dressing as Batman, observing a tower under construction. But he then sneaks over there and disarms the security. But as he stealths his way to the hallway, he enters the elevator shaft. But as he's sitting on the elevator, somebody enters. And Batman listens to the conversation. They hear 2 men talking. One says, do you hear? The new villain Killer Croc got taken down by All Might and a vigilante named Batman. Another says, but according to rumor, this Batman guy is some sort of badass. But then both men showed up as the door opens. Izuku can't tell who it is, because he's on top of the elevator. But like in an elevator shaft. But he tries to listen, something breaks through the roof and grabs Batman's head before throwing him out of the elevator shaft. Then Batman hears a voice says, well, if it isn't the baby bat. And Batman looks up and sees a giant with a luchador mask. And Batman says, Bane. And Bane says, when the Batman dies, I expect the Night will take over, but not Robin. We'll have to break one back and do it again. He then presses a button on a container that makes liquid run through a set of tubes that lead to his head. Bane then starts to get bigger and bigger until he's giant with massive muscles, almost bigger than All Might. He then tries to smash All Might. I can't speak. He then tries to smash Batman, but Batman dodges. And when Bane swipes, it knocks him to a wall. Batman then grabs a batarang and throws it at Bane, who blocks it. But he then explodes, creating a cloud of smoke that blinds Bane. Izuku then remembers Lucius' words. He says, I worked on that scarf you gave me, and I was able to update it and even make it black. That's when Batman pulls out the scarf he stole from Aizawa, and uses it, which is now black, and uses it to wrap it around Bane's leg. But nothing happens. That's when Bane says, sorry little bat, but you're not as strong as the old one. Bane then grabs the scarf and pulls it, flinging Batman towards him. He then throws him into a wall, But as Batman gets up, he asks, "What are you planning on, Bane?" And Bane just smirks this, "Well, since you're dying, might as well tell you. Me and my men have been hired to place creative explosive at the UA entrance and to cause some chaos." And Batman says, "You're planning on killing teenagers?" And Bane says, "If it pays well with the incidents, we sort of lost our old supply, so we need to buy new ones." But then Batman starts taking a few steps back. Bane says, "Where are you going, little bat?" But then Batman runs away and jumps through a glass window, onto a balcony. But then Bane breaks through it and says, "You're not going anywhere." But then Batman throws a battering, but Bane dodges it. But as he smirks, he hears beeping. His smile drops. As he sees the beeping battering hitting creative explosive, he then says, "No!" We then cut to Hawks flying in the air, while talking to Miracle on his phone. Hawks says, "I haven't found that guy who beat you up. Don't worry, I'll find him." But then the explosion is heard. Hawks says, "I'll call you back." As he starts flying to it, a lady with a microphone says, "This is my story. She says, fire up the helicopter." But we now cut to Bane getting back up. He then says, "The way you act, the way you punch. Just who are you?" That's when Deku says, "I'm the Batman." Bane then laughs and says, "Heard the rumors that you're becoming a teenager was stupid. But I say it wasn't. You are the original. Well, it doesn't matter. You're in this new body, you're weaker. It doesn't, which means it's easier to break you once again." He then tries to smash Batman, but he takes a step back and dodges it. He then pulls out a grenade and stuffs it into Bane's mouth. He starts coughing as the grenade goes off. As the smoke grenade goes off, his mouth starts releasing smoke. He then opens his palm and pairs of brass knuckles. But they then can't speak. He then opens his palm and a pair of brass knuckles drop into his hands. But they start to spark. He then punches him in the throat and electrocutes him. Their electric knuckles. Their electric gauntlets. He then grabs Bane's head and knees him in the face. He then jumps over Bane's head and lands on his back. He then rips out the tubes and the venom serum that being pumped into him starts going everywhere. Then a chopper appears and it's a news chopper. Batman says, "I can't use one for all. If I do, it will reveal my identity and expose me to All Might." But then a feather flies past him. As he dodges, he then sees Hawks. Hawks says, "What's going on here?" But as Bane gets up, he tries to punch Hawks, but Batman pushes him out of the way. Then Batman gets up and remembers. When Izuku dresses as Batman, he hears a voice changer. Batman then says, "Stand down, Bane." But like I say, he says this in in a robotic modified voice with the voice changer. He says, "Stand down, Bane, you won't win this." Bane says, "I'm impressed, Bat. Even in this body, you're still a dangerous man. Good thing I called back up." That's when another chopper arrives, and this one's a tag chopper. And the cameraman and news chopper says, "Wait, is that a tag chopper?" The news reporter says, "Are you kidding me? Keep recording this." But then Bane starts running and he jumps onto the tag chopper. And Bane says, "I'll be back, Batman." And he grabs an RPG and fires it. Hawk says, "What the hell? Where do you get an RPG from?" Batman says, but then Batman gets up and says, "Oracle." No, hold on, my bad. I skipped a line. But then, like I said, Hawk freaks out and uses his RPG launcher. But Batman pushes him out of the way of the missile, and Batman says, "Oh, you're right." Hawk says, "Yeah." But then Batman gets up and says, "Oracle, check the cameras and find out where that chopper is going and where it's from." Oracle says, "On it." But then Hawk says, "Wait, who was that guy?" Batman says, "Classified." He says, "I'm a hero and you're a vigilante." But then Hawk sees Batman walking away and he says, "Where are you going? You're a wanted criminal. You're under arrest." So then All Might lands in a building with a Razorhead, and Razorhead says, "Did you do this?" Hawk says, "Not sure." All Might says, "I'm sorry to do this, especially after you helped me defeat the crocodile villain. But losing your quirk we are licensed considered legal. It makes you vigilante." But as Batman walks away, All Might then says, "There's nowhere to go. The building's surrounded." And then Batman presses a set of buttons on his gauntlet. That's when something flies past the building. But then it does a U-turn and reveals to be a Batwing. He says, "What the hell was that?" And Loser says, "I think that's a jet made to look like a bat." So then Hawk says, "That's a bat jet." But as Batman jumps into it, Hawk says, wait, how the hell do you have a jet? I live in an apartment." But then the jet goes off and Razorhead and All Might look at Hawks. And Hawk says, "What the hell do you want me to do? I can't fly after a jet. It's freaking fast." We then cut to people watching the news. And reporter says, last night, there was a couple of explosion at a skyscraper under construction. But it seems that it was actually a cover-up for a criminal activity, but was forwarded by local vigilante, the Batman. Here's what the new commissioner of the police department says. He then shows Jim Gordon at the press conference and says, hello, I'm the new commissioner, Commissioner Gordon. Last night, the vigilante known as the Batman stopped the drug running operation run by a criminal known as Bane. They created a steroid that has the ability to enhance your body of any mutation or transformation quirk. The police department will be looking into criminal activity. But then a reporter says, what about the Batman? The commissioner says, the Batman has rescued many more of my men than every issue combined. I'm not sure there's one man in the department that will arrest them. But then the feed cuts to the reporter again, and she says, well, it seems the police department are favoring our local vigilante over our pro heroes. Which raises the question, should we trust the Batman? Especially when he drives this, then shows us footage of the Batjet. You were so curious on what that was exactly. We asked local pro hero Power Loader. It then comes to Power Loader, he then says, what you say was something I never really seen. It's state of art tech, it's highly advanced jet. Moves like the most advanced thing I've ever seen. Seriously one of a kind.